We are here today for a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are also live streaming, and Ms. Taylor's making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Good morning, Judge. Julie Panger standing in for Pamela Ferguson on behalf of the department. Also present is St. Francis Permanency Specialist Becky Hernandez.
Linda Evelyn, Tony Adlatum for the child.
Okay. And,
Monica Olivas with CASA.
and also placement is present with us.
Yes, sorry, Bailey Cervantes, foster mom.
Okay, then what do we have new?
Well, new update, they are moving to Childress, Texas next month. Naya's pretty excited. They're pretty excited about that. Besides that, Naya is doing great in her home. She's enjoying her summer. She's a healthy little girl, growing pretty big, happy, healthy, no health concerns. And yeah, she seems to be doing great in the home. For the immigration status, I haven't received anything new from Pam yet. I don't know if Julie got an update from her.
There's no change yet. I know that she mentioned the possibility of priority status potentially being updated in October, but she said that's really hard to guess about. So no change yet.
Okay. The big waiting game.
That's what I'm getting from this. Yes.
Yeah, well, it is. Ms. Hernandez, did you say they're moving to Childress?
Yes, Childress, Texas.
Okay. I thought that's what you said. I just wanted to be sure. All right. Well, Ms. Cervantes, anything to report today other than the government moves too slowly?
Other than that, no, she's doing good. She's super excited about the move. My dad is one of her favorite people, and he's going to get to be her principal now that we're moving. So she's so excited. Can't wait to pack. She wants to do everything right now to get ready to go. So yeah, she's doing great. She loves her little brother, is the best big sister. But yep, no changes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Evelyn, anything?
No, Your Honor. I think it's always good news with Naya and how she's doing. So appreciate what the family is doing to hang in there. It's a long process.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and CASA?
No concerns, Judge.
Okay. Okay, then I will continue the department's permanent managing conservator, and we'll continue your replacement. And good luck with the move. I don't envy that of you. It's like my least favorite thing in the world to do. So, but I hope everything goes really smoothly, and I'm glad she's excited about it. So, I'll see everybody back. Let's see, December 11th of 2024, and that'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. Maybe in October or somewhere in there, we'll get some good news.
Fingers crossed, fingers and toes.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Judge.
We're here today on our status hearing in this case. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor's making our record. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Julie Panger for the department, standing in for Pamela Ferguson. Also present is St. Francis Permanency Specialist Becky Hernandez.
Linda
I'm sorry,
Evelyn,
representing the father.
Stacy Grant for Encarnacion Castro. My client's not present, Your Honor.
Monica Olivas with CASA.
All right. Then Ms. Hernandez, what's the update on Alexander?
Alexander's doing good. He's adjusting really well at the placement he's at, especially with his other siblings. He's doing great. He is receiving ICI as well for speech, which they go see him in daycare, and he's also enrolled in daycare as well. Healthy, no health concerns. His arm is healing great. I saw it yesterday, and it's looking amazing. And he's thriving. Yeah, he's doing amazing.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear he's placed with them. That's great. Okay, and well, how's mom doing?
Mom, she's struggling a little bit. She's not fond of where she's placed right now. She's just not getting along with house parents. I know it's just kind of difficult, especially now with Alexander being removed. She's just I think she's starting to lose hope. But I just told her just stick it out. When I was talking to her yesterday, she just kept telling me she doesn't know what she needs to do now or to get her kids back. I just feel like she's kind of losing hope and getting a little discouraged, especially with not getting along with people in that house or cottage that she's in.
Well, what are we proactively doing to get her where we need her to be? I mean, more parenting, I don't know what we do, you know?
Yes. So I've spoken to the CPA, and I know she's going to get her more parenting classes, Spanish that they provide there at Cho. Being that she's not able to work, I know that they just have her do chores, and that's kind of her allowance kind of thing. And her therapy, I know that her therapist is one of her biggest support group as well, that she enjoys attending. So she is doing those things as well.
But we definitely have some issues that have been going on with mom during visits that our FSW has reported. She's refusing to do chores right now, so she's not getting an allowance. She's refusing to do any type of work at the house. There have been instances where she's been extra rough with especially the other child during the visits. So she has a lot of things right now that she needs to work on. She slapped one of the other children in the mouth during a visit. And when the FSW brought it up to her, she tried to play it off and act like it hadn't happened. She's definitely regressed, and we need to get her back in therapy. She's just kind of refusing to participate with placement and do what's needed right now.
Does her counselor have any input or any ideas about this?
I can ask her to send me the therapy notes. They haven't sent them to me yet. I'll follow up on that.
Okay. All right, Ms. Grant?
Your Honor, I think she could benefit from some focused anger management, possibly, if we're not doing that. I'm sure her therapist is addressing that to some extent, but her coping mechanisms have definitely regressed, and I just think perhaps some anger management added in, focused on how we deal with stress and stuff. The parenting class has a module regarding that, but I don't know if that's enough based on the striking the child.
Well, I think with the language barrier that we have, and I'm, I feel like, this is one of those deals where I think it's more effective if all of those kinds of things come through the counselor. If the counselor is comfortable with working with her on anger management techniques, and then again, I don't know what else to do other than parenting.
Right.
I'm sure that a lot of this is probably frustration and discouragement and all that. And, she's still just very, very young to have the responsibility of 3 children.
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez, how's she doing with her English?
Still not good, even with her Spanish. I know they were trying to enroll her so she can continue her education, but being that she's just not progressing in her reading and writing, they didn't accept her. So it's just, I don't think she even cares to even learn. I know she wants to work. That's all she talks about is, I just want to work.
And she understands why she can't.
Yes. Oh, yes. She understands.
Okay. Well, I don't know what else to do but get the counselor to try to encourage her that, she needs to focus on doing what she can do right now, and just, practicing better skills and tolerance with the children, and That's just all I know to suggest, honestly. Okay, Mr. Shaw.
Judge, I haven't had any contact with my client.
All right, Ms. Evelyn?
No concerns about Alexander. I think you acclimated really pretty quickly and pretty well with his siblings, and no concerns there.
Okay, and Casa.
No concerns with Alex. I think that he's doing well at the home. We're just concerned with Encarnacion, with her aggression with the kids, with the children.
I don't have any other suggestions. If anybody does, please feel free to speak up. But I just don't know what else to do. But if she's got a good relationship with the counselor, then I mean that's probably the best source for some of this to come from.
I do have a question. Did she ever say how it happened with the burn of his little hand?
The last story she provided me with was the running hot water was running in the bathtub, and he was reaching over for a toy and reached his little arm in there.
Okay.
That was the last story.
The story has changed several times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then house parent
She-
did also let me know that, that the police officer did reach out to them, and they are thinking of maybe pressing charges on her due to this. That was the last update that I got from house parent. I'm still waiting for more to hear if they are going to move forward with it.
I hope not. That's the last thing we need.
I know. I did try to explain to her Fifth Amendment right, and so I would just ask that no one question her about it except for the police. That way, her rights aren't violated in any way. But obviously she has to cooperate with the police officers, to do the investigation. So I've gotten 2 separate accounts of it myself, and so I can't really answer that question either.
Does anybody get any indicator or impression that this was anything but an accident that she just tried to cover up because she just out of fear or ignorance that, or does anybody have any concern that mom intentionally did this as a form of discipline?
I don't, Your Honor. I had a lengthy conversation with her, and she spoke extensively about being scared and getting in trouble and not knowing what to do, and just total fear response. I believe her. And I'm usually the first one to kind of ask a question, and probe, but I didn't get any feeling that we had an issue other than just parenting ignorance, to be quite honest.
Well, that's what it appears to me. And we hadn't had these problems in visitation before Alexander was removed, had we? She hadn't been inappropriately disciplining the children or anything like that, had she?
There's been some concerns mentioned by my FSW for Isabel. My FSW says that she's just not bonded to Isabel like she is the other children. So like if Isabel would come up and would took a toy from Alexander, she would push him back down on his bottom. So no, the aggression that my FSW has seen has not been towards the baby or Eugenia. It's all been towards Isabel.
Well, I just, I don't know. My gut is that this was an accident. She wasn't paying enough attention. That I agree with Ms. Grant. It was just either lack of or ignorance of or just disregarding parenting skills. And it's just one of those things that happens sometimes. And everybody that, any of you that are parents know that things can happen and they can happen quickly. And I want her to, I guess what I want her to understand is that, part of being a parent is learning from your mistakes and how quickly things can happen to children, how quickly they can get into things that are dangerous. And that's why you just have to be very attentive and proactive about safety in your home. And I'd rather use it as a teaching moment for her than punishment. I obviously can't do anything about what the police are going to do, but I really hope that doesn't happen. That's not what we need. So, okay, well, I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I assume mom's been over her service plan and all that. Okay, Ms. Hernandez is giving me
Yes.
a positive nod.
Yes.
Okay, an affirmative nod. All right, so I'm going to order the service plan as an order of the court, and hopefully we can just continue to work with her. I know we've already done a lot, but we just got to keep on keeping on. So I'll see everybody back for the initial permanency hearing November 13th on a 9:00 docket. I would make a finding that it would be a continuing danger to return the child back to mom at this point in time. And obviously we can't return the child to father since we're not 100% sure where he is. We think in Guatemala, but that's about all we know. And so we just keep using reasonable efforts to reunify.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I appreciate y'all and see you in November.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Judge.
Thanks,
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
And
you.
A continuation of our adversary hearing, and then at the conclusion of that, we may be having a status hearing. We'll take that up when we get done with the adversary. We recessed this hearing because we had some drug screens that had not come back yet. Everybody had agreed to do some drug testing, and the children were going to be tested. And so we had set this to Zoom today. Ms. Hanger, did we get everything back finally? And not asking what they showed, but just did we get them?
Yes, ma'am. We have the drug test back.
Okay. All right. So we're ready to resume then.
Well, Judge, if I could, and I'm sorry to interrupt, I was going to ask if I could, for just a few minutes, visit with the attorneys in a breakout room before we start.
That'd be fine. Let's go
Thank
ahead
you.
and just so that we've got it done. Let's go ahead and take announcements from everybody so we can go ahead and get that handled. So we are conducting Zoom, we're live streaming. Ms. Wyatt is making our record. Okay, we'll go ahead and take it.
Julie Panger standing in for Pamela Ferguson for the department. Also present is investigator Veronica Nieto. The department is present and ready, Judge.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of mom Hannah Mason. My client is present and we're ready to proceed.
Savannah Kincaid, I represent Mr. Benson. We're both present and ready.
Stacy Grant, I'm here for the children. I'm present, ready.
Okay, and I realize that I don't see Mr. Barfield. Has anybody heard from him?
I have not, Your Honor.
No, ma'am.
I haven't either.
Okay, and I'm looking to see if his client is present. Don't see him either. I'll set you all up a breakout room and go ahead and sign those of you that are here, and I will start trying to make contact with Mr. Barfield or his office and see where he is.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can you pop me in a breakout room with Mr. Benson just briefly? I think we're probably going to get it worked out, but I need to make sure just real quick.
Yeah, sure. Let me move you.
Hello?
Yes, Mr.
Maybe.
Adcock, the attorneys are in a room talking, so just stay where you are here and they'll be out soon.
For a while, so
Okay, they're talking, so just stay where you're at.
thank you, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Judge. Can you assign me to room 1, please?
Judge, can I talk to Miss Mason?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I think we've got everybody out of breakout rooms. Let me just double check. Yes. All right, Ms. Panger, are we ready to go?
Judge, I believe that we have an agreement as to TMC.
All right, great. All right, if you want to go ahead and announce the agreement, that would be very helpful.
Yes, ma'am. The parties are in agreement that the department will take temporary managing conservatorship of the children or maintain that. The children will be placed back in the home with mother. However, the department, the parties have agreed and the department is asking for an order, a court order that Andrew Adcock not be allowed in the home, and also a court order directing that Miss Mason not allow Mr. Adcock into the home, that all of his visitation will be supervised, and that any of his contact only happen during those authorized supervised visitation time. And then one of the jobs I believe that Miss Mason has added, in addition to all of those, she is going to be helping take care of her grandmother, Virginia Brinsfield. And so the court is asking, because of concerns with the kid's maternal grandfather, that he be ordered not to be in the home with Miss Brinsfield, and that Miss Mason not allow him into that home.
Okay. I was having some background noise coming from Mr. Benson's device, and so if you'll go through all of that last part for me again, Ms. Panger, I'm sorry, because I'm afraid I may have missed some detail in there.
No problem at all, Judge. I'll start back that the kids will be placed with the mother.
Right.
And that we're asking for a court order that Mr. Adcock not be in the home, and an order that Miss Mason not allow him in the home or allow him to have any access to the children that is outside of the times authorized by the court or by the department. That one of the new, I guess, a new job that Miss Mason has taken on is helping take care of her grandmother, the kid's great-grandmother, Virginia Brinsfield. Mm-hmm. And there were some concerns, have been recently, with the kid's grandfather being in the home there with Miss Brinsfield. And so we're asking that the court order that the maternal grandfather not be in that home at any point, particularly when the kids are there, and that Miss Mason not allow him in the home there while the kids are there.
Okay, so let me clarify. Is she living in that in Ms. Mason's home now?
No, ma'am. I believe she's in a separate home, but Miss Mason has taken on a new job of going to Miss Brinsfield's home to take care of her. And when she does that, we want to ensure that the maternal grandfather, who is Miss Brinsfield's son, is not in that home because of concerns about drug use. And so that he would be ordered not to be in the home, and that Miss Mason's ordered not to allow him in the home and access to the children.
Okay, so and I want to make sure I'm understanding, but so Ms. Mason goes over to the great-grandmother's home,
Mm-hmm.
and is providing care for the great-grandmother.
That's correct. And that's
her grandmother.
That's her grandmother, the
Okay.
kid's great-grandmother.
Right. Okay. Okay. Hang
Yes,
on,
and
hang
the
on.
kids, oh, I'm sorry, Judge.
But also living in grandmother's home or great grandmother's home. Is this other person?
No, ma'am, I don't think he lives there. He was in and out of that home some during the investigation and maybe even while this hearing's been going on. He is not living there anymore. And I have asked the investigator and we are in agreement with that he doesn't live there. There was a point that he was staying there, but he's not anymore.
Okay.
And so
here's my problem, Ms. Panger. I have no jurisdiction or authority to order what goes on in someone else's home. I could say Ms. Mason cannot allow the children. I mean, if he shows up, you know, if the kids are there, she just needs to take the kids and leave. But
that's what
I
we'd
don't
ask
think,
for.
yeah, I don't think I have any authority to order that he can't be in the grandmother's or the great grandmother's home or anything to do with him.
Okay, and Judge, what we would ask is really the order that Miss Mason not allow him around the children, that she be ordered not to do that, and that if he is there when she goes over and has the kids with her, that she leave and not allow him around the children.
Okay.
Correct.
What is his name?
Miss Mason, what is his name?
My father's name?
Yes.
Wes Mason. And behalf of that, my dad no longer lives here in Matador. He lives with his cousin.
Okay. So children aren't to be around him, Mr. Mason, Wes Mason, and if he shows up, then you understand, Ms. Mason, you have to take the kids and get gone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then, Judge, she also continues to have her job at Allsup's. And so there was the concern about who would be taking care of the kiddos when she is working at Allsup's. And she's provided the name of her stepsister, I believe, Cheyenne Mount, who we have spoken to some during the investigation and the early parts of this case. And so long as she is agreeable to continue with being that babysitter, because I think that was an issue whether she was willing to do it, then and the department approves that, then she is okay to be the babysitter while mom is working at Allsup's.
Cheyenne Mount.
Cheyenne Mount.
So do we know if the department's going to approve her or?
So it wasn't fully completed during the investigation because she didn't indicate her willingness to. I think they were talking about potential placement of the kids with her. What I've gotten is the impression that we think we should be able to approve her, but we've got to verify that she's willing to be this babysitter, and this would be contingent on that, making sure that there's someone that can watch the kids while she's working, and this is the only name we have.
Okay. All right.
And Honor, she has watched all four of my kids at my granny's house while they were in with into care with my dad and my granny, because she helped watch them while my dad worked.
Okay. Well, it's a question, I guess, of following up on that to see if she's willing and then see if she's approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Panger?
Well, and then as far as visitation, I know that was something that Ms. Kincaid brought up, is making sure that visitation for Mr. Benson, I think will begin virtually just because of distance. That's what was brought up, but making sure that that's set up, which absolutely will be done. We'll get on that immediately.
And where does Mr. Benson live?
Burke Burnett, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Burke Burnett.
Near Wichita Falls.
Yes,
okay.
And I think she said that's about 3 hours away. So there's some distance there.
Okay. All right. No child support or, I mean, what are we gonna do about that? Children are in the home with mother.
Right. And so I think not for mother at this point. And then I'm going to ask right now to defer on that.
Mr. Benson, do you pay child support already?
No, ma'am, I haven't paid child support at all.
Do you financially assist with your children?
I haven't got to see my children in 2 years. I have no contact with the mother, and she won't contact with me or nothing like that. And I mean, at first I was not financially stable, but I am now. But I also do have 2 other kids.
Well, my concern is that mom's gonna be taking
I
care of all
understand.
four.
I will start paying child support now.
I'll tell you, I don't know anything about your income or anything. I'm gonna set your child support based on minimum wage. Do you have any other children, Mr. Benson?
I have 2 other children that I had got these children after the fact child support was set date.
Okay, I'm having a real hard time hearing you, sir.
I had 2 other kids after the child support was set in stone.
Do you pay child support on those children?
No, ma'am. They're in the home with me now.
Okay. They live with you.
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
2 years old and 9 months.
Okay. So Ms. Panger, we'll base it on minimum wage. I mean, at this point, until we can have some verification of your income, I don't know what else to do.
Sure. I agree, Judge.
So, and you are going to be having to do some things for the department. So I don't want to pop you too hard on this deal, but I think a mom needs some assistance. So
absolutely.
So minimum wage for 2 children, considering that he's got 2 others in the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not going to be that much, Mr. Benson. I'll tell you that. It won't be all that much.
How do I go about paying child support? I've tried and I couldn't figure it out.
Well, you're going to have to give your attorney some information about who you work for and all that. So they'll pull it out of your paycheck.
Okay.
All right. So now Mr. Adcock's going to be out of the home.
Yeah.
And if the children are in the home, I feel like Mr. Adcock should be paying some support.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Adcock, do you have any other children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And are you working?
Yes, ma'am. Little side job right now.
I would ask that it be set at minimum wage, Your Honor. I think that's what his income would show.
So same deal. We're going to set them both, but Mr. Adcock's will be set based on 2 children and no other children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me catch up here real quick.
Can I ask with child support, do we want medical support also at a very minimum? We'd ask that also at maybe $25 a month per child.
Yeah, that's fine. That's really below the guideline, but that's fine.
Yes,
I mean, we've got some leeway in these cases because parents are going to have to be working services and getting transportation and back and forth to things, and so
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, Judge, that order is going to state that the child support goes to the mother, not the state, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Kids are in the home. Okay. All right, Ms. Panger, anything else?
Judge, I would just ask that Miss Mason be admonished about the importance of making sure that Mr. Adcock is not in the home, that she's not allowing him there, and that he's not around the kids at any point that he is not authorized to, because it will likely result in the kids being removed from her care again and placed back into foster care.
Yeah, Ms. Mason, it's not likely to result in that. It will happen.
Yes, sir.
You know,
I
when I agree to leave children in the home and we set those parameters and those rules, I will just tell you, I mean it. And if it, and you know, it's just the strangest thing. People think, oh, you know, I live in this small town and these people aren't around and they're not going to see us if we meet over at Sonic and, you know, have an ice cream cone or this or that. And, you know, it's just the strangest thing how many times people do see you.
yes, I understand.
And, you know,
Life.
so it's, you just, you know, Mr. Adcock, you don't ask her to break those rules.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not fair to her, and it's darn sure not fair to the children.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Mason, you don't bend the rules either because it's the same deal. I mean, who will pay the ultimate price?
The kids.
The kids.
will.
Yep. And you know, and it's, and then I'm essentially punishing the children for your all's, you know, misbehavior. And I hate doing that. I really do. But if you're not going to be protective of them and you aren't going to follow the rules, then I don't have a choice. I have to protect the kids. So
Right.
I hope we all are very clear about what we have to do or not do. Okay.
Yes.
All right then. Let me just ask, Ms. Sapien, is that you and your client's agreement?
It is, Your Honor, and I would just ask that you verify with Ms. Mason.
Yes.
Okay. That's your agreement, Ms. Mason?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Barfield, you and Mr. Adcock?
Mr. Adcock and I agree, and I have a feeling Mr. Adcock's going to comply with everything the court asks him to do.
Okay. And Ms. Kincaid?
That's our agreement, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Benson, you got any other questions? Is that your agreement, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Ms. Grant, are you good with all this?
Yes, Judge, I'm in agreement, and it's in the best interest of the children if all the parents can comply with this.
All right. Then I will approve the agreement as announced and discussed. Parties agree, and I find the evidence is sufficient to name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the temporary managing conservator of the children. Find that there would be a continuing danger to place the children with Mr. Adcock or with Mr. Benson at this point in time, although we need to work on that relationship with Mr. Benson. And the children find that the children can be safely placed with the mother, but that services will be appropriate in the case. So Mr. Adcock will not be allowed in the home. Mother will not allow him in.
Quick question, Judge. Will I still be able to, in this little time frame, will I still be able to go and get some of the rest of my stuff out of the house, and you know, or will I get her in trouble like today or?
Let me get with after the judge announces the ruling, Mr. Adcock. I'm going to ask that maybe you and me and Miss Mason and her attorney go into a breakout room and we can discuss making those arrangements. Obviously, if the department attorney needs to be in there and ad litem as well, we can just have a meeting after the judge announces the ruling.
Yeah,
if that's okay with the court.
I can tell you, Mr. Adcock, it would be better to you know, have somebody else, you know, go pick those things up for you. You know, I'll let you all discuss that. All right. So his visitation we're talking about Mr. Adcock, his visitations will be supervised and there will be no other contact other than those supervised visitations between him and the children. The children are not to be around Mr. Wes Mason. And if Mr. Mason shows up unexpectedly when mother is at one of her jobs, then she will if the children are present, she will remove the children immediately. Childcare can be provided for Cheyenne Mount if she is approved and is willing to do that. Mr. Benson will begin his virtual visits with the children, and his child support will be set at minimum wage considering he has 2 other children in his home. Medical support at $25 per child. Mr. Adcock will pay child support based on minimum wage for 2 children and medical support at $25 per child. Okay. I appreciate y'all working everything out. Our status hearing will begin immediately because of the resets. So, since we're just going to continue on in, so we're going to move into this phase of our status hearing. Everybody is still present, and we are still on Zoom and live streaming, and Ms. White's still making this record for our status hearing. Okay. This is unusual because of the time frames. So service plans, Ms. Panger, I know we had some discussion with Ms. Ferguson. Those have been developed, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It's my understanding that those service plans have been developed. Yes.
All right. And Ms. Mason, have you been over a service plan?
I have not, but I have visited with the caseworker today. So.
Okay. All right. Mr. Benson, have you been over a service plan?
No. Say
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, you're breaking up, sir.
On yet.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I have not.
Okay. Mr. Adcock, how about you? Have you been over a service plan? Okay, he's muted, but he said no. Okay, so I understand it's unusual because of the timing of these things, but what I will say to each of you parents is that I'm going to make those services an order of the court today, and I will expect you to work those things. Because this is kind of unusual, I will give you and your attorneys an opportunity to talk about those service plans. And if there is something in those that comes up that we have a problem with, I will certainly allow the attorneys to raise that at a later date. We can always address it. If we need to set a special hearing, we certainly can do that to talk about that. But as it stands right now, I will order the services as those have been prepared, and just admonish everybody that failure to work those services can result in the kids not staying at home or being returned to any of you. Failure to work the services can result in termination of parental rights. So, nobody wants to go down that road. We just all need to do what we need to do. And, we'll work for reunification with everybody. And I will see you all back on November 13th of 2024. That will be on a 1:00 docket. And that'll be our initial permanency hearing. And I'm very hopeful that we will be well down the road to getting everything completed at that point in time. Okay, then. Thank you all very much. And I'll see you back in November. That sounds like a long, long way away, but I guess it'll be here before we know it.
Your Honor, can I say
Judge?
something real quick? I'm Cristobal Salinas, caseworker.
Yes, sir.
Can I get Mr. Adcock's address? I show the same address as Ms. Mason's, and I need a corrected address, if I can get one from him.
Okay, let me do this real quick, Mr. Salinas. If that's all he needs, and does anybody have anything else they need on the record?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. All right, I'm going to let Ms. Wyatt go. I'm going to stop the YouTube feed before we start giving out people's addresses, and then you all can speak freely. And then if you all need to go in a breakout room, I'll put those of you in there that need to be.
As long as we're not on YouTube, Judge, then.
All right, we are here today on an initial permanency. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming and I'm recording to the Zoom cloud. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Pamela Ferguson, Regional Attorney representing the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present and ready with permanency specialist Cristobal Salinas and supervisor Jasmine DeVroe from St. Francis Ministries.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of Mom Hannah Mason. My client is present and we're ready.
Brooks Barfield on behalf of Andrew Adcock, present and ready, and I see that he appears to be on as well.
Savannah Kincaid, I represent Mr. Benson. I spoke with him yesterday and sent him the link. I don't see him in here, but I'm ready.
Stacy Grant, attorney ad litem for the 4 children. I'm present and ready.
All right. Mr. Adcock, can you unmute? I want to make sure that we've got a good connection with you since you were having a little trouble connecting. I want to make sure you can hear us.
Can you hear me now, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
You have the ability to have your camera on?
Yes, ma'am. I was trying to. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, Mr. Barfield, do you have video?
I do.
Okay. Ms. Kincaid, I know is, I think, driving, so I'm not going to require her to have her video on. All right, then. What do we have new since the court report was filed?
Your Honor, I would ask Mr. Salinas to.
Your Honor, that as far as something new is on the individual counseling on both parents, the counselor has terminated their counseling because of non-compliance. He's been trying to get a hold of them and they haven't responded. So he went ahead and suspended them on their counseling services.
Mr. Salinas, when you're saying both parents, are you talking about the fathers or are you including Miss?
The fathers, Anthony Adcock and Andrew Benson and Andrew Adcock.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else new since the court report was filed?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, I would ask my client to give an update on, have the fathers been able to take drug tests? Have they been in contact with St. Francis?
Well, one of the fathers, Andrew Adcock, he has been in contact with St. Francis on a monthly basis. As far as drug testing, there's been no shows. I have not had any results, any compliance with that. And I haven't had anything back, any agreement with him to get drug tests. He had said he's been busy with his job and hasn't had any means to get over there, but he's been given opportunities to go get a drug test. And with Andrew Benson, he has had a drug test back in July and nothing since then as far as drug testing compliance.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, at this time, I believe we're probably asking the court to order drug tests on both fathers and hair strand and UA.
All right. And how about Mom? Is she in compliance with you?
Yes, Your Honor. Mom is in
Okay.
compliance.
Children still doing well with her?
The children are doing well.
Okay. What about visits? I know we were doing virtual visits with the children and at least Mr. Benson, is that correct?
Mr. Benson and Mr. Adcock. Mr. Benson has not done virtual visits with his children. Mr. Adcock has done virtual visits with his children at least once a week.
Okay. All right. Ms. Sapien?
Judge, I don't have anything to add. Miss Mason is doing great and I don't have any concerns.
Okay, Mr. Barfield?
Yeah, I just need to ask my client a few questions, if you don't mind, Judge. Mr. Adcock, if you'd unmute, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You heard the testimony from Mr. Salinas, so I need for you to explain the situation in regards to the counselor. What have you done to make contact with the counselor?
One got in contact with me today. He messaged me today. I barely, I didn't know that I gave them my other email instead of the email that I'm using for the Zoom link. So when I went and checked my other email, I've had a few messages from them. So it's not like they haven't tried to contact me. I had, it was on the other email. So yes, sir.
Okay. Will you make sure that Mr. Salinas has the email and the counselors have the emails that you check and that you want to receive information from?
Yes, sir.
So we can avoid any confusion in getting you started in these services. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's address the drug. So is it your intent to contact that counselor back and schedule your counseling?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you can give the court your assurances you're going to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next thing I want to ask you about is the drug test situation. What's been your situation? Why have you not gone and drug test?
Well, the main conflict I've had with going to the drug test. Well, for one, I've been working, but that's not really the main part of it. It's just I can't drive. Last time that in this recent time since we've been on this case, I actually went to jail for no license and stuff. So just trying to be able to make it up there. It's about an hour and a half, and that's just really been my only problem. I've offered to take drug tests at this clinic here, and to submit a UA or just some type of proof or something. It's just I'm not gonna go out my way to go to jail again. So I haven't been able to find a ride, and I've asked for a ride too. I've asked if they can maybe provide me a ride, and at the times they couldn't because they were kind of like booked up with stuff. So.
Now, obviously, where is the closest clinic to you is an hour and a half away to take a drug test?
No, the closest clinic to me is here in town. I've offered to go to town, but he told me that those tests wouldn't stand in court or nothing.
Okay. So
yes, sir.
Okay. So you're having transportation issues to get to the approved clinic is what you're saying?
Sir. Yes, sir.
If you were provided transportation, because I think the judge is probably going to order a drug test today.
That's fine.
I'm not going to predict what the court will do, but I could probably guess. If you could get transportation help, do you have any problem going and doing that drug test?
No, sir.
Now, do you understand also that no one wants you necessarily missing work, but there may be occasion where you have to miss work in order to comply with these court orders? You understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
My boss man has pretty strict policy, man. So it's kind of.
And nobody wants you to get fired. So I'm sure they'll try to work with you. Now, in regards to your visits, you have been exercising your virtual visits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And everything's been going fine. I mean, everything's been pretty copacetic. So.
Okay. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
All right. Anybody? Well, let me just ask Ms. Kincaid, anything to report today?
No, I did just want to get a clarification. Mr. Salinas, has Mr. Benson exercised any of his virtual visits?
According to the mom, no, ma'am. She calls him every week to get in touch with him, and he won't answer his phone. She'll text him, no responses. So he has not been any communication with his children at all.
Okay. Your Honor, I really don't have anything to report. I spoke with him yesterday afternoon. I sent him the link. I wasn't sure if he would be here today, so that's all I have.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Grant?
Your Honor, the children are all doing well with Hannah. Hannah is also doing well, continues to test negative, continues to take care of all the children. She's very engaged with therapy, and I did get her therapist notes, and the therapist has moved on to relapse prevention with her and getting that gone forward. I'd really like to see both the dads, get engaged in that therapy. Sounds like Mr. Adcock has a plan to get that started. I don't know if Mr. Adcock has stable housing yet. There's no changes in medications or anything to the children. the two older children really enjoy playing outside and stuff. So with the weather getting colder, they may start to get cabin fever because they go outside quite a bit and hang out and do that. But all the children are happy and healthy where they are, home with mom, and she's doing well. And I hope to see these dads get their feet under them and get moving so that for the kiddos can have their both parents back on all sides.
All right, thank you.
And Judge, can I follow up just briefly with Mr. Adcock regarding this driver's license issue?
Yes.
Thank you. Andrew, what is now is your driver's license currently suspended?
Yes, sir.
And how long is that suspension period?
I think I got at least, I think the suspension got lifted maybe last month or something. I think it was, or last month or two ago. I'm not too sure. Kind of a lot been going on lately. So,
do you need to pay like is
no surcharges? No surcharges or nothing, sir.
There's no surcharges.
No, sir. No, sir.
So do you just need to pay a reinstatement fee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a vehicle?
No, sir.
Okay. So that's also an issue. Even if you had a driver's license, you don't have a vehicle.
I mean, somebody wants to let me drive it right, I will.
Okay, y'all are talking all over each other.
Okay.
Okay, what I got out of that was he doesn't have a vehicle. He needs to pay a reinstatement fee for his driver's license. So even if he could borrow a vehicle, I mean, he'd have to borrow a vehicle from somebody. Do you have access to a vehicle, Mr. Adcock?
Not currently right at the moment.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I am going to order the drug test as they have requested, but what can we do to get, at least Mr. Adcock's here, what can we do to get him there? Mr. Salinas?
Your Honor, I can set up the transportation if they're available to get that scheduled. They can make effort to get him picked up and take him to get his drug test.
And Your Honor, if the court orders it, we will make sure that happens.
Okay. All right, Mr. Adcock, if they can arrange transportation for you to go drug screen tomorrow, can you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Salinas, do you have time to get that arranged, or would it be better to shoot for Friday?
Let's shoot for Friday, Your Honor.
Okay.
So I can set up transport.
All right, so Mr. Adcock, it'll be Friday. And
Yes,
but
ma'am.
Mr. Salinas will be communicating with you about when and all that, okay?
Yeah, he's pretty good at communicating with everything. So, he's
All right.
kept in touch with me this whole time.
All right, I will also order Mr. Benson to drug screen before, what's their cutoff time in Lubbock? Is it 3 o'clock?
Your Honor, he lives in Burke Burnett, Texas. So he usually goes to Wichita Falls.
Okay.
Yes. So I've already submitted a drug test for him to go, and he responded back to me that he has no time for that.
Mr. Benson?
Yes, ma'am.
He's the one that lives, you're talking about close to Wichita Falls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Well, I guess you can text him again and say the court has ordered him to go drug test before 4 o'clock tomorrow in Wichita Falls.
I will do that.
And at what facility? Be specific about it.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Adcock will drug screen for us on Friday.
And Your Honor, we would ask by 3 o'clock. Typically, that's the cutoff.
Okay. That's what I originally had asked. So, okay. All right, then I will continue the department as temporary manager and conservator, and I'll continue placement with mother. I would find there would be a continuing danger to return the children to either father at this point in time. Find that mother is in compliance with her service plan and that neither father is in compliance at this time. I'll order Mr. Adcock to drug test on Friday by 3 p.m. And that the department will arrange, or St. Francis will arrange for transportation to and from that drug screen. Mr. Benson will drug test in Wichita Falls by 4 p.m. tomorrow. And those will be here in UA.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, our next hearing is going to be March 12th of 2025, and that'll be on a 1 o'clock docket. Mr. Adcock, since you're here, I'm just going to tell you, you got to get busy on this stuff. You're going to run out of time. So if you're going to have transportation, communicate that with Mr. Salinas so we can start trying to put all that together. But, you know, the clock is ticking and you're going to run out of time if you don't get going on these things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Your Honor, can the department make a motion, make a request that the March 12th setting be a final hearing?
I'm good with that. Since children are already at home with the mother, I'm fine with making that a final. Okay, so March 12th, 2025, that will be a final hearing. And I would like for y'all to mediate sometime before that. Let's say by, you know, no later than March 1st. We'll appoint somebody to do that. And so Ms. Mason and Mr. Adcock, your attorneys can explain to you what I mean by that, but it's a way y'all get together and see if you can't resolve how the case is going to come out and who's going to do what and all that.
Okay.
Usually better result than just letting me make all those decisions. So
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
way for you all to try to figure out what's really going to work best for your children.
And
All right, then.
Your Honor, is there a way for me to have after this hearing, have a breakout room with the attorneys and maybe St. Francis?
Yes, ma'am. I'm happy to do that. I've got something starting at 2:30, but y'all can stay in the breakout room and
Okay.
whatever you need to do and just leave directly from there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Also, I have
Okay.
a question.
Yes.
Well, I know that Mr. Benson hasn't had visitation for over month and a half now. Do I still continue to try to work with him about visitation?
Well, let me kick that back to St. Francis. What was he getting in the way of visitation?
He was getting virtual visitation for an hour.
And were you supervising it?
Yes, ma'am. I was there to, you know, by the kids and just letting them talk to him, but also listening.
Your Honor, can we ask that he get in touch with Mr. Salinas? And then Mr. Salinas can set up that virtual visitation or at least get in touch with Miss Mason. But I would like for him to get in touch with St. Francis to initiate that visitation since he hasn't visited in over a month.
Yeah, and I don't see any reason for Ms. Mason to be supervising that at this point. So, yeah. Ms. Mason, that you don't have to do that anymore.
Okay. Because I want to protect my two boys. I know they like talking to their father, but them just waiting by the phone to see if he answers, it kind of like, you know, it kind of messes with them emotionally.
Yeah, that's fine. That's not your responsibility anymore.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. I'll see you back in March.
And can we have that
All right.
breakout room?
Yeah, I got you set up. I'm just